Well, hello. How is everyone doing? Hi there, my name is Anna Stropnik and I'm coming to you live from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I hope you're all having a great weekend, and today is Sunday and almost the beginning of the work day. And I have a really interesting subject for you today that was inspired by my friend Matt. We were discussing about this issue last night, so I wanted to do a live because I know that there's many people that actually have this common problem. So if this is the first time you're watching any of my videos, my name is Anna Stropnik, and I help people get healthy, live better, longer. Also, I help them to gain more energy, sleep better, and I help them gain financial and time freedom. So if you're just joining in, you can type in hi and where you're watching from. I would love to say hi to you. I have a question for you. So do you know like what overgrowth of Candida really is, and what Candida is? Now the main one of the main causes of us being unhealthy and the causes of lots of diseases, it's our unhealthy gut. So Candida has a lot to do with this, and we will be breaking this down tonight in this live video, and I will be telling you why exactly. All right, so what happens when you have this Candida overgrowth? You may be experiencing symptoms such as athlete's foot, ringworm, any nail fungus, skin fungus, feeling tired and lethargic, worn down, also chronic fatigue, any type of digestive issues, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. It's very common among autoimmune patients as well. So what is Candida? Candida is fungus, which is a form of yeast, and the very small amount we have normally in our mouth, intestines, in our genital tract as well. So its job is to aid with digestion and nutrient absorption. So in small amounts it's very beneficial for us, so it helps our bodies absorb nutrients properly. So now what happens when we have the overgrowth of Candida? It will actually break down the walls in our intestines, and it will penetrate into our bloodstream. And then what it will do, it will release toxic byproducts into our body, causing leaky gut. So some of you maybe heard of this, some you haven't, but that leaky gut is a big problem, because that way body doesn't absorb all the nutrients that we need. So it can lead to many different health problems, from digestive issues and also to depression as well. So how does this overgrowth happen? So besides Candida, we also have a good healthy bacteria that lives in our intestines and in our digestive tract as well. So when that good bacteria is there to keep your yeast, your Candida, in check. So it needs to keep it in balance in that small amount that is beneficial for us. But when it gets overgrown, that's when the problems start. So how do we get this problem? So what kills that good, healthy, friendly bacteria? So one thing is the use of antibiotics. So if you use antibiotics more often than we really should, it will cause the overgrowth, and it will kill the good bacteria, so it may cause overgrowth of Candida. Another thing is, which is like probably the most common, is actually eating like lots of carbohydrates, sugars, alcohol, even oral contraceptives can do this, and high stress. You know that high stress is related to almost everything. It is to this as well. So I just want to touch base on this high carbohydrates and also sugars. So not everything is like the sugar that we think. It's like, you know, how many, there's hidden sources of sugar in everything. So if you're drinking soda, if you're drinking fruit juices, you have sugar added in those. What is even worse is instead of sugar, there is a chemical component that is 10 times sweeter than sugar, which is your high fructose corn syrup. And this is something that is really bad. So this can cause that inflammation, that the growth of Candida, that we're lots of times are not realizing it's happening. The worst thing about it, it's addictive. So that high fructose corn syrup that is in everything, if you read labels, even you go shopping next time, you know, whatever, like, you know, maple syrup or honey, whatever you like, pick any type of sauce, like mayos and horseradish, you will find this high fructose corn syrup in bread. Like, go and look, it's one of the ingredients in all the breads. It's just absolutely in everything, and we don't think about it. Bagels, I mean, really in everything. So that is something that that can cause it. So what are the main symptoms of this? You will have skin and nail fungal infections. It's very common. Feeling tired, worn down, suffering from chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. Also autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto, rheumatoid arthritis, colitis, lupus, psoriasis, scleroderma, and also multiple sclerosis. The problem is also difficulty concentrating, poor memory, and brain fog. It's also connected with ADD and ADHD as well. And then again, skin issues like eczema, hives and rashes, irritability and mood swings, anxiety and depression. So another thing, vaginal infections, UTIs, rectal and vaginal itching. So that's all connected to that overgrowth of Candida. Then allergies, itchy ears, and then another, the one that I mentioned already, it's the actual strong sugar and refined carbohydrates cravings. So if you're actually suffering from this, that you just cannot live without a certain like things that are bad for you, it could be that, again, high fructose corn syrup that I said is very addictive. It's probably like more addictive than cocaine when they did these studies. So it's definitely really bad for you. It can cause overgrowth of Candida, but the problem is that when you're addicted to something, it's really hard to give up. Okay, so who would like to know like my tips on how to help when this does happen and how to prevent this from happening? You can type in number 1 in the comments. I would love to hear who do we have on, and if this is helping anybody, like this advice that I'm about to give you. Okay, awesome. So basically 3 things that you will have to do to help this. So the first thing is actual cleanse, so Candida cleanse. There's a special type of diet. We can go into more details about this, what it really is, where you're going to help your body fight off that Candida overgrowth. So like there's a special like things that you should be eating. There's a broth, for example, with like onion, kale, garlic and celery that you can do for 2 to 3 days, and that really helps to balance it out and like really cut down on that Candida, and salt added as well to it, sea salt. Then number 2 is to replace and change your diet. So you want to start slowly replacing all of those bad high carbs, sugars. You want to be replacing them with like steamed vegetables instead of those like carbs that are bad for you. Substitute them with sweet potato, carrots. It's definitely a better way of getting that like sugar, but not the unhealthy one. And then lots of like spinach, kale, all sorts of different vegetables, so steamed vegetables. So if you do that for 2 to 5 days, that would be awesome. So then what you need to do as well, so this is like lowering down that Candida overgrowth, but you also need to replace the good bacteria, because that Candida overgrowth will actually eat off the good bacteria like a Pac-Man, so they keep each other in check. They're both beneficial for us because Candida we need, like I said in the beginning of this video, to absorb certain nutrients, but it has to stay in our intestines and a little bit in our mouth, but not in our bloodstream. So what you need to do is you actually need to replace that good bacteria. And how are you going to do this is by healing your gut. So certain foods like drinking lots of cranberry juice will help. Kefir, like the drink that has fermented cultures, it will help. But also what my like biggest advice to you would be, invest in a really good probiotic. Why that's important, it's not all the probiotics are done the same, so you don't want to be like cheap when it comes to this. If you're using probiotic already and you're not getting results, it's probably not working. It's probably getting eaten up by your stomach acids and it's not getting to your gut where it needs to go to start healing it. So I know of a good probiotic. I would love to talk to you more about it. It will help. It has like 6 billions of cultures in it, and it's slow releasing special formula, a patented formula that we're using that will help to get them where they need to go, and it's like fast and slow releasing, so throughout the whole day and night you actually have this helping and healing your gut. And then another thing that is really important is when you have Candida overgrowth, it often happens when your immune system is down. So it's really important throughout this whole process is to actually boost your immune system. And our probiotic actually has Well-Immune, which is another like booster for your immune system. So by doing these steps you will feel hell of a lot better, and I hope you all take my advice, and I hope this was all helpful to you. If you have any additional questions, or if you'd like to discuss anything personally with me, please feel free to message me, personal message me, and I will get back to you by later tonight. Thank you all for watching, and have a great night.